On this episode of the Appalachian Front, we decided it was time to relax. So we decided it was time to go to some wineries. Our first stop is Linville Falls Winery. Starting out as a Christmas tree farm on this giant 40-acre plot of land, Linville Falls Winery has evolved from a simple vision to an enormous journey along the way. We spoke to two sisters, the current owners of Linville Falls Winery. They told us all about the role their family had in the creation of this place. This includes the vineyard, the Red Barn Tree Farm, the food trucks, the magnificent and authentic wine, and the family and friends made along the way. Before we try the wine, it would be nice to see how these two sisters played a role in the expansion of Linville Falls Winery.
My name is Jessica Boone. We are at Linville Falls Winery, and I'm one of the owners/managers. Our jobs are ever-changing. We just do a little bit of everything here.
My name's Lindsay Wiseman. Not married, but I do a little bit of everything, same as Jessica, so just managerial things, and some days I'm helping bottle, and some days I'm doing events, and some days I'm pouring wine on the bar.
It opened in 2012. Our grandpa started it, actually. So in 2012, I was in college, and I came home and I was like, what's going on? What are we doing here? So, but he'd been growing grapes here for a little while. We've had this farm in our family since the 50s, growing Christmas trees, actually, which is what the barn here on the property is for. We operate a choose and cut Christmas tree business from that, and he started experimenting with grapes. He'd spent some time on the West Coast in his earlier days and just thought that this would be an awesome place to grow a vineyard. He was around moonshiners, and he was raised by his grandparents, so he literally was raised by people who lived most of their lives in the 1800s, which is crazy to think about.
Wild.
Yeah.
I've been fermenting blueberries in my basement for 3 months.
Yeah.
Do you want to try these? And I'm like, I'm 12, so no. You know?
Yeah. He grew up loving, fermenting things. Pretty clear to Lindsay and I that we were going to get on board, and we've not looked back.
I was driving home every weekend working at the family business and then going to school during the week, and I just felt more compelled to be here for longer periods of time, and it just felt like a really good fit. And I fell in love with the wine world.
Could you guys tell me when or where the vines originate from?
Yeah, so we get our root stock from a place in New York State. We started with that because we figured our climates are probably most similar with that region of the world as opposed to out west.
But what we're really known for here is our Riesling. So it's what we'd call our flagship grape. And it's really like bright acidity, citrus forward kind of Riesling styles that we do. And we actually do 3 different types of Riesling. So we do a fully dry Riesling, an off-dry Riesling, semi-dry, and then kind of like a sweet style late harvest Riesling. So that gives variety.
And I guess that tells you a bit about the wine tasting. Could you explain more of that and what you guys offer here?
We've totally switched our business plan to full table service. So now when guests come, they can come inside, grab a menu, look around, but we really want to guide them to a table outside and then our wine stewards will actually come out, take their order at the table. We'll stand out here and explain everything to them, and they can do a flight. So it's like similar to going to a brewery where you have the beer flights on the board, but now we've done it to where it's like you have 4 glasses on the board, sampling of each, and it's really fun because you get to work through it at your own pace. This gives it a more relaxed style. Try it if you want to, try it if you don't want to.
I know we have 31 bistro tables, 5 round tables like this, a couple larger oval tables, and then we also have the lawn is open to seating. Once this all fills up, we actually open up an annex bar in the red barn. So once we fill up here, people can go get a glass or bottle in the barn and then sit out on the lawn, which has been really popular just in the past year. Like, people have really enjoyed just being like away and out in nature and sipping their wine, and they can still hear the live music out on the patio.
How often do you guys have live music here?
We do every Saturday and Sunday, May through the end of October. Actually, right now we're in the pruning stage, so you prune grapevines back pretty heavily, but that allows for the most opportunity for the grapes to have good flavor and good health, and you know, as you're harvesting, you're not dealing with all of these crazy branches and stuff.
I really think we're in a special place here where all seasons are really pretty for their own reasons.
Yeah.
Summertime here, that's the best time.
It's great.
Everything's beautiful, the flowers are in bloom,
The vineyard
feels happy, you get the sunsets.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Now September is when we harvest, so that's a really special time too, because you get to see the grapes in their full glory, like full clusters of red and green grapes.
They're
It's
like
really
this
cool.
big, and you're like, oh my gosh. We kind of want to have a better location for our bands too.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a really big future project that we want to do. We were thinking about building sort of a stage somewhere out in the open where they're protected and they can play to everyone, because if they play just like under our breezeway or
In a room.
not everyone can enjoy the music.
What is your absolute favorite part of the business for both of you?
Can I be corny? I'm gonna be super corny.
Corny.
Working with you, working with family, because you're my best friend. So being together every day is special. You don't get
It's
to
really
work
special.
with your best friend and your like sibling, you know? That's really unique.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets to do that. So like literally getting to do exactly what you want to and be with the people you love is super special.
Coming home to spend time with like our grandpa, like that's really special. Like that's such treasured time, and you know, there's lots of life lessons and we know how to push each other's buttons, that's
Oh,
for
yeah,
sure,
I mean,
but it's been
We fight. Don't let me get you wrong with all the
What family
mushy
doesn't?
gushy stuff.
family business is, I mean, it's tough, but it's really well worth it, and I think we've learned to communicate with each other really well through it. And I love wine culture. Like, wine culture is just so cool. We meet the coolest people who have traveled, and people who drink wine just love life. And so we have met some lifelong friends here, and just really unique people that we've come to really love and have become part of our world because of the winery.
Wine, family, and comfort are only a few of the things that you'll find at Linville Falls Winery. On this 40-acre property, you can also find the food truck, Wicked Good Deep-Fried Pretzels. Here they serve salt, cinnamon, garlic parmesan, and many other types of pretzels. It made me completely rethink what I compare with wine. But there's one last and very important person that I would like to introduce. The originator and innovator of Linville Vineyard, Mr. Jack Wiseman.
And I'm the old man that started this vineyard and then gave it to my grandchildren.
All great ideas come from one thought. Try to be more like Jack and push these thoughts to the next level. The next stop along the way is Grandfather Vineyard Winery. We arrived as the gates opened. People flooded out of their cars with smiles on their faces, cheeses in their bags, and friends on their side. They're excited for the day ahead, wherever that may lead. Once you're across the newly renovated bridge, you'll see the Watauga River, the 1180 Eatery food truck, and the towering green-roofed building of the Grandfather Vineyard tasting room. Seats and benches line the stone floor and the pebbled walkways. People gaze down the river as their wine pours out just as fast.
We're at Grandfather Vineyard and Winery. I'm Dylan Tatum. I'm the winemaker and general manager of the winery. It's a family-owned business. My family owns it. My folks and I started this back in 2011. It was just a hobby for my dad, the grapes, whenever I was in high school, and I took a little bit of an interest. I graduated in 2011, and about that time, with my entrepreneurship and management and winemaking degree, I was talking to my folks, and we decided to start a vineyard. It's gone really well. We started at about 1,500 cases a year, producing about 1,500 cases a year, and now we're at about 5,000. We use all the grapes we grow here. We probably get about half of our grapes from about a 300-mile radius, and then the other half outside of that, and that could be up north, out west, Georgia. So it just kind of depends on the style of wine we're going for. We're becoming known for our sparkling wine. We're in an area here that's cooler than especially the rest of North Carolina, and that tends to make good sparkling wine. This year, actually, we did our very first sparkling red wine, which should be pretty interesting. We're about to release that pretty soon. We have about 3 acres of grapes, which is, like I said, not enough to support our winery. And this right here, it takes a lot of work, I will say. A lot of people get into the vineyard business like later in life because they decide that they want to grow grapes and make wine, but they don't realize the labor that goes into it. And there's a lot, and it's also a big capital investment because you plant a vine and you don't get any grapes from it for 3 years, and then your third year, your harvest is very minimal. They say, I believe, about half of what your full production of the vineyard would be. So it's really 5 years until you really start bringing in, I guess, some money, some capital.
Do you guys have any future plans to expand your vineyard or your winery in general?
Yeah, so absolutely. We just are actually in the next couple weeks. We're closing on a property right across the river over here. That's going to be our production. We're going to build a production facility. But we're actually going to build a winery this time to be able to produce about twice the amount we're producing right now. A lot of people don't realize with the grape or with the wine industry, we have a harvest time when all of our grapes come in. For that, we're going to make all the wine for the entire year, and it comes in starting in, I guess, August. We started getting all of our grapes in. Last year we did about 70 tons of grapes. So we did a good amount, and we have to do crush and press all the grapes at that point. And ferment all the wines as well. So for the red, it's a little bit different process for red and white. So with red wine, the color of red wine comes from the skin. So we ferment that on the skins. It extracts that color out. The white wine, we ferment it off the skins. We press it out, separate the juice from the pulp, essentially, and then ferment it that way, so as just juice. And then after the fermentation is done for the red wines, at that point we press it out and separate the skins from the wine, and then we let it settle out for a week or two. Put it into a tank to let it settle out, and then put it in the barrels, and it's there for at least a year. Three main type of barrels we use. We use American oak barrels, French oak barrels, and we, like you said, the whiskey barrels. The French oak barrels are going to be they're quite a bit more expensive, but they do give the wine a lot more complexity than the whiskey or the American oak barrels. The American oak barrels, you get a few flavors: spice, vanilla, a little bit of smoke, oak flavor, obviously, but it's not as complex as the French oak barrels. With the whiskey barrels, we do a red and a white wine. It pulls a lot of that whiskey character out, the smoke and the caramel, char flavor.
Do you guys work with the school at all, with the
Yeah.
fermentation department?
Yeah, so we actually have partnered up with the Fermentation Science Program, Ivory Tower. And the students actually come out here a few times a year. They're coming out here actually on Monday to prune the vineyard. Biggest asset for me has been being able to talk with the instructors all the time, because I don't know everything about winemaking. And if you claim you do, you're lying. But so it's always good to be able to have other people that are in the industry a little bit to bounce ideas off of. I think my favorite part about this business is it's not monotonous at all. It's a very seasonal job. So during harvest time, we're doing harvest stuff. We're pressing, crushing, racking wine into barrels, and then after that we start getting our whites ready from that year. Start filtering, kind of figure out what we want to do with them, and then clarifying them and then bottling them. You don't get bored in this job for sure. So we have moved away from weddings a little bit here and there, but we do music most weekends during the summer months.
Could you tell me when you think the best time to come for your vineyard is?
In the summer months, during the week. It gets very busy on the weekends, so come during the week for sure. It's a little less busy.
Due to one of the biggest and darkest clouds that I've ever seen in my time in Boone, we weren't able to taste all of the wines. But their most popular wines tend to be their dry red and white, their sweet, their dry rosé, and their vintage and past wines. Though there may be some differences between Grandfather Vineyard Winery and Linville Falls Winery, but the core really remains the same. Family owned, beautiful location, and spectacular music, views, and wine. So don't forget to take some time to relax the next time that you're traveling on the Appalachian Front.